Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna speak about very interesting topic. You might be asking yourself about in case you're interested in car or not interested in car, or you went to a mechanic shop, or you saw it on television, or maybe you hear about it in chemistry class or so, which is a catalytic converter. So, in case you have a car or not, you might ask yourself whenever you put your key in your car and you start it up, what happened afterwards? I believe most of us know that there is a combustion happen inside your car for the fuel. So, and this fuel, when you burn, is released like a gases, and this gas can be disposed right away to the environment, to the atmosphere. I believe not. Because if released right away, it's a pollutant and which is not acceptable. So in this case, we have something in between. Actually, we have something in between, which is a catalytic converter. So it's in between the engine and the exhaust system, which is releases to the environment. So let's get started and know more about catalytic converter. So the catalytic converter is a component in a vehicle exhaust system, part of exhaust system. It works to reduce the harmful emissions and convert the toxic gases and pollutants to that come out from the internal combustion of the engine, as we mentioned in the introduction, to less harmful substance through the chemical reaction, of course. We're gonna go through this later. And this here in the core, we find like here's the engine, where the combustion happen. Here's a catalytic converter. And here's the exhaust system, which is the last step before it releases the gases, which it should be treated one to the atmosphere. And here is more obvious for you guys, in case whenever you go to a mechanic or you do it by yourself, like change oil or fix something, you see the mechanic is lifting up your car and you see this board. You see like a curved pipe here is connected at the end. If we stretch it, the picture, I got like a screenshot of it. If this stretches the picture, we'll find this ends connected to the exhaust system, and this port is connected to the engine, which is the first point where the exhaust gases come from, or the burning, the combustion product fuel coming, and then it should be go through. Here is a catalytic converter, which, as you see, like as a shell of a metal or a can, we can call it like as a can, and there is a port of a ceramic inside has like a lot of chemical make to make sure is interact and react with harmful gases to make sure the conversion is happening. So what it does exactly? So it convert to lower many bad gases or toxic gases. First thing like carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, as we all know, is a poisonous, and if you expose to it too much or increase it too much, it might break up your hemoglobin cells, which is responsible for your breathing. So it has like bad consequences in your health, might be make you dizzy. So it has a lot of bad things to your health. So of course, it converts the carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide, which is more stable and is harmful as well, but carbon monoxide is more dangerous. And unburned fuel to CO2 and H2O, because in the engine there is like a fuel, you have oxygen, a spark, so there is a combustion happen. So combustion products always like a carbon dioxide and water, but the combustion not 100% complete. not in all cases 100% complete. So in this case, maybe 80% of conversion happened, 80% of fuel combusted. So how about the 20%? The 20% unburned. So which is if released directly to the environment, that's not good. So we have to go through treatment process to make sure this the unreacted fuel or unburned fuel should be converted to CO2 and H2O. And of course, the fuel has part of NOx or the byproduct maybe has NOx like nitrogen oxide. If this directly released to the air, this is blended with with a cloud or the and make responsible for acid rains, which is very harmful to our plants and water and the animals, of course. And those achieved by the catalyst. And our key players today is platinum and palladium and rhodium, which are the active sites responsible for saving the universe, lower the pollutant of each car running on a street next to you. It of course has any of those platinum, palladium, rhodium with a certain amount to make sure the conversion of harmful or toxic gases to lower toxic gases and make our life healthier and better and easier. Here there's a little you know, a little diagram to show you well, not a diagram, like a little like a chart, you know, or a flow chart telling you simply what is the process is. Like you have your vehicle, your combustion inside your internal engine, gas is released, go to the go to catalytic converter, and then from catalytic converter to this reaction happen, conversion happen, then go to less harmful substance. Here how is manufactured. Manufacture is 5 steps. First step is substrate. Substrates where we put it inside the cans that I showed you over here. Inside this can there is a substrate. And most likely it's made of ceramic. And then washcoat, which is the first time we hear about washcoat. What is a washcoat? Washcoat is a material that's applied on the substrates, and of course has characteristics and characteristic like surface area of contact, and of course it used as a carrier of the active metal. We're gonna speak about it later. And of course it's made of alumina silica layer, and then we do like a catalyst coating. Catalyst coating like this wash coat, we coat the substrate. We apply the substrate. So catalyst, platinum, palladium, rhodium, it is not just like a metal in a solid state. It a metal in a liquid state, and should be blended with a wash coat and then applied to the catalyst, then applied to substrate as well. And then afterwards, we can this canister simply. We put it in a stainless steel shell, and then we install it under your car. And then we do like quality control check to make sure everything is fine. So first, the substrate preparation. Usually is a ceramic or a metal, stainless steel, and where the wash coat or the chemical is applied to this substrate to make sure it adheres to it and make sure the harmful gases can go through it. Then the wash coat application. The wash coat is a porous layer inside the converter it doesn't do the conversion of harmful gases to something environmentally okay, but it's just like a carrier of the catalyst, which has like platinum, palladium, rhodium, and it helps to adhere to the substrate cells itself. And of course, is has high surface area of contact and supports the active metal at a high temperature. And of course, the way is coating the material is it should be done in certain way. So in order to make sure the slurry or the washcoat is dispersed everywhere on the substrate, so is a give like the reaction more time to react if like exist in one spot, not exist or diverse on many other spots. This is gonna be a problem because part of the pollutants can go through the pores without being touched by the catalytic converter, so no reaction will happen. So partial reaction will happen, but not everything will happen. And of course, it should be exposed to a drying and calcination. So a drying to make sure the extra water coming out, and calcination to make sure that the active metal or precious metal is bolted together and bonded together to the substrates and actively okay to be reacted afterwards with the fuel uh, or the combustion products afterwards. Catalyst coating is a solution of suspension containing active precious metal, platinum, palladium. We apply it to the coating and should be should be dispersed everywhere on the substrates to make sure it's uniformly and homogeneous on everything, on everywhere. So give a high surface area of contact between the combustion products and the active metal or the wash coat itself. And then dried and calcinated to make sure is the reaction and the active metal is bonded to the substrate. Then canister assembly. This where after the chemical applied and coating happen, we can this in stainless steel can to protect the substrate and the part itself, and we put it under your car as we all seen it in the second slide. Then we do like a extra testing, quality control to make sure the reaction happen, make sure the conversion, we get the highest conversion. So, and then we give it to the customer and client afterwards. So let's speak more specifically about washcoat. So washcoat is a porous high surface area layer. Um, is applied. It always applied to substrates and is not responsible for converting um, the output of combustion to less emissions or less harmful gases, but is responsible for carrying the platinum and the precious metal in the substrates and make it like adhere um, to the substrate itself and providing high surface area of contact, which is very responsible for the chemical reaction and high conversion. Because the response is that the point of reaction is getting high rate, high conversion. If we couldn't get this, is useless. So the idea to get like a high high surface area of contact, like is homogeneous, like uniformly applied everywhere, mostly all the boards, and then we get like a high conversion. like conversion, we applied it happened with a chemical reaction. And this happened when we have like a uniform spray or uniform profile of the wash code on the board or the surface area. So the active metal of washcoat this time, um, not the catalyst. So most likely it's a powder and a water. Like it has like alumina oxide, which is the base material and has provide high surface area of contact, and of course which is the particle size of this material, of course, and silica, which sometimes added for a thermal stability. And also we have like other metal oxide, depends on the application. So each core different. Each core does has their own chemical, their own active metals, or percentage, depends on the application. So any core, not any core has the same amount. It's different from the big core to small core. It depends the application where you use it, the location, the factory, for many reasons, the regulations, the laws, and it depends. It depends on the factory. So maybe the factory in Canada, not like the factory in Europe. So and the size of core may play a very important role in this. Um, then, as we mentioned, one also the things of the wash code can do is adhesion. So the it's very important that the wash code, and as we by default, the wash code means like the carrier of the active precious metal, which is always in a liquid state, should be stick to the pore, to stick to the substrates. If it didn't stick to the substrates, so it's useless because whenever you whenever you put like a wash code in and you just like flip it or so, you will see like the wash code coming out from the other side. Like you have like a cup and you try to fill it with the water, but the cup has like a hole. So the water you try to fill your cup is coming out from the other side. So it's important to add like a modifier or things to stick to the substrates. And of course has thermal stability because it is gonna interact with um, the combustion gases which is come out at high temperature. And of course it should be um, has thermal stability because it will be like calcinated afterwards to make sure like the metal is bonded to the substrates. So it should be has it has like some characteristics most important like thermal stability, surface area, and adhesion of course. Um, Summary, whenever anybody asks you about like catalytic converter, you're gonna say like a substrate. It's always made of metal or ceramic. A wash coat apply on it and apply a wash coat. It always like a porous layer, mainly from alumina. But we know, as we mentioned in the previous slides, is carrying the active metal or precious metal, and then we do the coating on it, and should be um, the coating should be done in such a way that uniformly exists on the substrate, so make sure the surface area of contact high and get more reaction and conversion rate to be high in order to lower the toxic gases and meet the standards of environmental protection agency. I believe that's pretty much it. Just like a brief about um, what is catalytic converter and what is do exactly. I hope you enjoyed your video. Enjoyed the video, and I'm gonna see you in next video. All right, see you later.